How the trauma bond locks in. So one of the things that's going to happen when you leave a narcissist or when you escape a narcissist is you're going to have a lot of people who are around you who don't understand what's going on at all. And oftentimes they will sort of disconnect from you or even worse, turn against you. That is probably the most difficult part when dealing with a narcissist is the aftermath. Now, the narcissist, they look for women and people that have certain qualities. If you're someone that's been relatively socially isolated, if you're kind of lonely, they're going to look for these traits because they see it as they can isolate you and they can marginalize you and they can feed off of your self-doubt and insinuate you having more self-doubt. Unfortunately, once you leave the narcissist, you're still trying to make sense of everything that happened. You're still trying to unravel everything because you just dealt with a lot of gaslighting and manipulation. Putting pieces back together because they typically do a lot of gaslighting to try to get in your head, to try to create doubt, confusion, because the goal is to create a trauma bond to where you will come back to them and to where they can manipulate you or control you further. Unfortunately, you may find that the people who you thought were your friends or support system are not there for you at all. You may also find that people you thought were there for you don't like seeing yourself be more confident or be more empowered or be more sure of yourself. And in worst case scenarios, they may have actually sided with the narcissist, both either overtly or inadvertently. They may have actually wanted to see you get so-called humbled by the narcissist or get bullied by the narcissist because they feel like it would make you softer and more controllable. What they don't want is they don't want you to be confident. They don't want you to take charge of your life and realize that you don't need them at all. They want you to be dependent on them. The problem is with this, if you become dependent, you're more likely to become codependent, and that's what the narcissist is going to look for. Another huge thing to look out for is once you leave a narcissist, other narcissists or narcissistic psychopaths, they can smell blood. They can smell blood in the water. They can sense if you're kind of in a phase where you're healing or where you're a little bit more vulnerable or where you're putting pieces together. And they will come in and pretend to be everything that other person wasn't. This can get really bad because you can get in a cycle where you go from one narcissist to another one, and then you are never getting a sense of closure. With the narcissist, there will never be closure. Please, above all things, do not look for closure from the narcissist. That is the game that they play because they know that if they can keep a small part of you wondering, what happened? Did they really care about you? Did they really like you? Why did they do what they did? If they know that there's that small part of you, they have a way to get back to you. We can even look at this from a quantum physics perspective with quantum entanglement. If you guys are still entangled, if you guys are still connected at some level, it's like no matter what you do, you come back to them or they come back to you, and they are counting on this because they want to bring you into their net, into their world. So that's something to look out for. How to overcome the narcissist if you don't have a strong support system. In fact, you may be around people who benefited from you being in a state where you were maybe more insecure or vulnerable. How do you combat that? If you are an empath and you were betrayed or preyed upon by a narcissistic predator, it is not your fault. You did not do something wrong. You came into the situation innocent and pure and optimistic, and you were manipulated by a predator. That is the terrible person. That is the bad person. Please do not take any of that on. Don't say, oh, I made a mistake, or I shouldn't have, or I should have known better. That's what they're going to look for, because if you're self-critiquing yourself in that type of a way, then you're putting some of the blame and accountability on yourself instead of them. It is their fault. They are a terrible person. They are a predator. They look for people who are soft, gentle, emotionally balanced, loving, the way that people are supposed to be. They look for those qualities and elements and they exploit them. They look for qualities of normalcy, of positivity, and they exploit them. So they're not preying on someone who is messed up or who's all over the place. They're typically preying on people who are empaths because that's how you're supposed to be. You're balanced, you're stable, you're optimistic, you think positive, you have a good outlook on life, you're lighthearted. That's how you're supposed to be. They look for for people like that and manipulate them and pretend to be those qualities and mirror those qualities so they can make the empath feel betrayed, feel hurt, and inevitably their ultimate goal is to make you just like them. If they can make you dark, if they can make you bitter, if they can take the smile off of your face and make you give up on everything, they will revel in it. So what do you do if the people around you, it could be coworkers, friends, family, etc., kind of liked seeing you upset, or were kind of hoping that they would humble you or humiliate you or make you feel bad, and they wanted to see you hurt because deep down they didn't like how happy you were, or they didn't like how joyful and lighthearted and positive you were. They wanted life to teach you a lesson, so to speak, right? The way you're going to deal with those is by emotionally removing yourself from those people. Emotionally disconnect for those people. If they were not there for you as a solid foundational support system, or even worse, if they tried to shift the blame on you or attack you or call you names or abandon you during the hard time of escaping or leaving behind a narcissist, emotionally remove yourself from them. Of course, it's not going to always be possible just to move or just to, leave the job that you're at or something like that. Emotionally disconnect. How you deal with that is it's always good to be very polite, be very professional, but in terms of emotionally telling them, about your highs and lows when it comes to your new relationships or what you've got going on in life, it's a really great time to remove yourself from them. You may actually find that they were more deeply involved than you thought. I've heard stories of people who someone thought was their friends and family, and they were actually coordinating with the narcissist and joking with them and siding with them behind the scenes. So it's worse than just losing one person. It's like losing multiple people. So just in case, to stay on the safe side, if they were not supportive of you, or if they gaslit you and basically acted like you were making all of it up, or no, that didn't happen, or anything like that, if they were dismissive, if they deflected, make sure to emotionally disconnect from them. So this is the most important part of aftercare from dealing with a narcissist, is going to be dealing with the aftermath. I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.